Have you ever felt that the life you keep dreaming about is so close, almost within reach, yet somehow it slips away? What if I told you it's not because you're not worthy, not because you're unlucky, and not because you're doing something wrong? The truth is, the life you're visualizing already exists, right now, in the quantum field. And all that's left is for you to tune into the frequency that unlocks it. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine reality as an ocean. Infinite waves, infinite timelines, all coexisting at once. Somewhere in that ocean, there is a wave carrying the version of you who already has the success you dream of, the love you crave, the freedom you desire. And every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every state of being you embody is like a tuning fork. It vibrates, it resonates, it locks onto one of those waves. When your frequency matches the frequency of your dream, the wave collapses and it becomes your life. This is not fantasy. Quantum physics has shown us observation changes outcome. Your attention is not passive, it's creative. Your focus is a force. Wherever it goes, energy flows. And so, if your focus stays on doubt, fear, or lack, you amplify timelines where those emotions exist. But if your focus locks onto gratitude, joy, and love, you amplify timelines where those states already unfold into reality. Here's the secret most people miss. They stay in the vibration of wanting. And wanting says, I don't have this yet. But the quantum field doesn't hear your words. It feels your frequency. If you want, you stay in lack. But if you receive, if you embody your dream as though it is already yours, the field responds. This is identity shift. The moment you stop hoping and start becoming, the universe begins to reorganize around you. Think of it like two waves syncing, two pendulums swinging until they lock in rhythm. That's you, syncing with the vibration of your desired reality. At first, it feels like imagination. But imagination is not fantasy. It's the bridge. Every time you visualize with emotion, every time you feel gratitude before the blessing arrives, every time you step into joy without condition, you're phase locking with your dream. And once you lock in, the shift is inevitable. But there's one more step. Surrender. At the deepest level, you must release control. Not because you're powerless, but because clinging keeps you separate. The quantum field flows best when you trust. When you grip too tightly, you block. When you let go, you open. Think of a river. Fight the current, and you tire. Flow with it, and it carries you further than you imagined. Manifestation works the same way. So how do you live this? Start by asking, who would I be if my dream were already real? How would I think? How would I feel? How would I act? Be that person now. Cultivate gratitude, not for what's coming, but for what already exists. Withdraw attention from fear and lack. Feed only the timeline you choose. And then, trust. Act when inspired. Rest when guided. Allow life to unfold in ways your mind could never predict. Because here's the truth. Manifestation is not about creating something new. It's about aligning with what already is. The version of you who lives the dream is already real, already waiting, already entangled with you across time and space. Every thought, every emotion, every choice shifts you closer or further. The question is not, can I manifest? The real question is, am I willing to become the version of myself who already has? When you do, everything changes. Synchronicities appear. Opportunities flow, people show up, and what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. That is the power of the quantum frequency. So remember this, you are not here to chase reality. You are here to choose it. The life you've been visualizing is not far away. It is here, now, waiting for coherence, waiting for you. And the moment you shift, the moment you surrender, the moment you align, you unlock it. And once you experience that, once you truly live it, you'll never see reality the same way again. Now, let's go deeper. Imagine for a moment that reality is not solid. Imagine it as something more fluid, like a field of infinite waves, all vibrating with different frequencies. Every possible timeline, every possible version of you already exists in this field. And the only thing deciding which one you step into is your frequency. Think of it like tuning a radio. The station you hear doesn't exist until you tune into its frequency. But the truth is, it was always there, broadcasting in the background, waiting for you to align. Reality works in the same way. The life you desire is already broadcasting. But if you're tuned to a different signal, fear, doubt, scarcity, you can't hear it, you can't receive it. This is what people miss when they try to manifest. They think wanting harder will bring it closer. But wanting is not receiving. In fact, wanting keeps you separate because it tells the universe, I don't have it yet. And in the quantum field, that signal is powerful. It keeps your desire locked in potential instead of collapsing into reality. So what's the real key? It's shifting from wanting into being, from reaching into receiving, from lack into coherence. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your frequency. Now imagine this. Your consciousness is like a laser pointer. Wherever you place your attention, energy begins to gather. Attention collapses possibilities into matter. This is why when you constantly focus on what's missing, you create more of what's missing. But when you focus on gratitude, on love, on joy, you amplify those frequencies until they become tangible. Gratitude is one of the highest frequencies you can embody. Why? Because it signals to the universe. It is already done. Love expands your field, dissolving resistance and opening channels you didn't even know existed. Joy is a signal of alignment, proof that your energy is resonating with what's true for you. Think of your emotions as tuning forks. Low emotions, fear, anger, doubt, create destructive interference, canceling out your signal. High emotions, trust, joy, gratitude, create constructive interference, amplifying your broadcast until it reshapes the field around you. This is why manifestation isn't just about thoughts. It's about coherence. Your thoughts, emotions, and identity must vibrate in harmony. That's what creates a frequency strong enough to phase lock with the timeline you've been visualizing. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. The quantum field doesn't care about time the way we do. To the field, past, present, and future are all happening simultaneously, like songs already written, waiting to be played. The moment you shift your frequency, you shift your timeline. You literally step into the version of reality where what you desire is already true. So pause for a moment and feel this truth. The future you dream of is not separate from you. It's entangled with you. It's whispering through your intuition. It's calling you in synchronicities. It's showing up in the patterns you can't ignore. It's not about chasing it. It's about tuning yourself to it. Because when your frequency matches your vision, reality has no choice but to reflect it. Let's take this to the next level. Because here's the truth. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. Think about that. If you keep identifying as the version of you who is waiting, who is hoping, who is chasing, then your reality will always keep you waiting, hoping, and chasing. That's why the most powerful step in manifestation is not about getting, it's about becoming. Identity is everything. The quantum field doesn't respond to your wishes. It responds to your embodiment. The moment you shift into the version of yourself who already has it, something extraordinary happens. Your thoughts change, your emotions align, your actions flow differently. And without even realizing it, you begin to magnetize the reality that matches that identity. So ask yourself, who is the version of me that already lives the life I desire? How do they think? How do they walk into a room? What energy do they carry? When you start living from that state, not someday, but now. You're sending a powerful signal to the quantum field. This is who I am. This is my frequency. This is my reality. But here's the paradox. Once you embody it, you must also let it go. And this is the part most people resist. We've been conditioned to hold tight, to control, to force outcomes. But the quantum field doesn't open through control. It opens through surrender. Energetic surrender doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means releasing the tension, the grip, the desperation that blocks the flow. It means trusting that once the seed is planted, it will bloom. In its own time, in its own way. Think about it like this. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it, you nurture it, and then you trust the process. The same is true with manifestation. Once your identity is aligned, once your frequency is coherent, your only job is to stay in trust, gratitude, and presence. The field will do the rest. This is what we call divine timing. Not delay, not denial, precision. The universe rearranges variables you cannot see, orchestrating events with a perfection that your logical mind could never calculate. And when it arrives, you'll realize it was never late. It was always exact. So here's the question. Can you trust enough to surrender? Can you step into such certainty of your identity that you no longer need to force the outcome? Because when you do, you enter the final stage of manifestation. The stage where desires stop being something you chase and start becoming something you naturally attract. And that is the true mastery of the quantum field. Now, let's talk about something truly powerful. The 9 master frequencies. These are not just abstract ideas. They are the energetic codes that unlock entirely new timelines. And when you learn how to embody them, your reality doesn't just change, it shifts. The first frequency is gratitude. Gratitude is the recognition signal. The moment you feel grateful, you're telling the field, it is already done. That frequency pulls the future into the now. The second is love. Not the conditional kind, but expansive love. The energy that dissolves barriers and connects everything. Love is the resonance that entangles you with your desires. The third is joy. Joy is alignment. When you are in joy, you're proof to the universe that you are already tuned to your highest frequency. The fourth, trust. Trust collapses resistance. It's the frequency that tells the field, I don't need to control. I know it's unfolding perfectly. The fifth, presence. When you're fully present, you're not leaking energy to the past or the future. You're here now, the only point of power. The sixth frequency is clarity. The field responds to precision. When your vision is clear, your signal becomes laser-focused, cutting through interference. The seventh, surrender. This is the art of release. When you surrender, you stop fighting the flow. And in that openness, the field can finally deliver. The eighth, inspired action. Not forced action, not hustle, but movement born out of alignment. This frequency is how the invisible becomes visible. And finally, the ninth, identity coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, and self-concept all line up, you create a stable frequency that locks onto the timeline you've been calling in. Now here's where it gets fascinating. Every timeline exists as a potential wave in the quantum field. Each one vibrates at its own unique frequency. The life you dream about. It's not someday. It's already out there, vibrating, waiting. The 9 master frequencies are how you tune yourself to that exact channel. This is what timeline shifting truly is. It's not about effort. It's about resonance. The moment your frequency matches the timeline, you phase lock with it. And then, life begins to rearrange itself. Synchronicities multiply. Unexpected doors open. People, opportunities, and events line up in ways you could never predict. And here's the secret most people overlook. You don't shift timelines by waiting for proof. You shift timelines by being the proof. By living, breathing, and embodying the version of yourself who already exists on that higher reality. So close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that version of you, the one who already lives in that reality. Feel their energy, hear their thoughts, sense their presence. Now breathe it in and let it become yours. Because the moment you feel it fully, the shift has already begun. That's the power of frequency. That's the art of timeline shifting. Every great transformation begins with a phase transition. Just like water turns into vapor when it reaches the right temperature, your consciousness shifts into a new reality when your frequency hits critical mass. Think about it. Water doesn't slowly become steam. It reaches a tipping point, and then suddenly, instantly, the phase changes. Your manifestation works the same way. For weeks, months, maybe even years, it feels like nothing is happening. And then, one shift, one moment, and everything changes at once. This is why you must never mistake stillness for stagnation. Even when you don't see results, energy is building beneath the surface. The quantum field is reconfiguring, and when the tipping point arrives, reality collapses into a completely new state. But here's the deeper secret. The fastest way to reach that tipping point is through what we call the reverse manifestation process. Instead of waiting for the external world to give you proof, you create the proof internally first. You start by feeling the outcome as if it's already real. You step into the identity. You breathe the emotions. You imagine the details until your body doesn't know the difference between memory and imagination. Because in the quantum field, there is no difference. Your nervous system, your subconscious, your electromagnetic field, all of them begin to accept this inner vision as reality. And once your energy aligns, the external world has no choice but to catch up. This is reverse manifestation. You don't wait for reality to shift before you believe. You believe first, you embody first, and then reality shifts around you. So, when life feels stuck, when results seem delayed, remind yourself, you might just be on the edge of a phase transition. The energy is stacking, the field is aligning, and the tipping point is closer than you think. And here's the question you must carry with you. Are you willing to trust the unseen long enough for it to become seen? Because if you are, then the shift is not only possible, it's inevitable. This is the moment where manifestation moves from theory into embodiment, from wishing into becoming. And when that transition locks in, you don't just step into a new reality. You realize you were the portal all along.